All right, welcome. This is the Colorado Energy and Carbon Management Commission. It is already January 21st of 2025, if you can believe it. And with that, we will call the roll.
Okay. Commissioner Ackerman,
Here.
Commissioner Cross,
Present.
Commissioner Messner, Commissioner Oath,
Here.
Commissioner Ray,
Here.
Commissioner Robbins.
Here.
Chair, you have 5 commissioners present.
Great. That's quorum. Good to see everybody. Hope everybody is staying warm during this polar whatever it is. We have a short agenda today. It starts with commissioner comments. I do have some comments. Yesterday, the commission received a motion in docket 240900229. That is the produced water rulemaking. The motion was filed by Adams County, the American Petroleum Institute, Chevron, Noble, PDC, Citizens for a Healthy Community, Civitas, COGA, Conservation Colorado, and Western Colorado Alliance for Community Action, Colorado Oil and Gas Society, the Energy Council, Garfield County, and the Western and Rural and Local Government Coalition, the Greenhouse Gas Connection Center, Larimer County and City of Longmont, Oxy USA, and Southwest Water Advocates, as well as Rocky Mountain, TEP, Rocky Mountain, and West Slope, Colorado Oil and Gas Association. And they alerted, I think, 4 more parties, but we've not heard from them. The motion seeks a continuance of the rulemaking until February 27th, 2025. The basis for it is the parties have continued to engage in negotiations amongst themselves, and they believe that another week or two would result in the potential for getting to yes on some of the significant issues in the produced water rulemaking. The movements note that staff is comfortable with the motion. I, as chair, so we can't deliberate on the motion today. We would need to wait until next Thursday to open the docket and then deliberate on the motion. One of the problems with that is there are deadlines between now and next Thursday. There's also deadlines in the heads of commissioners on getting ready for a produced water rulemaking. Witness testimony is due this Friday. So there's a lot of things moving on. I wanted to alert my fellow commissioners, and I'm not going to ask you for your comment because we don't want to get into deliberation, but just as one commissioner and as chair, I'm inclined that the motion ought to be granted. And I also would hope that the hearing officer can take some action on the motion as he believes is fit by the end of the day today, so that we can alert all parties to what the next steps are in this rulemaking. I would note that we were under a statutory deadline of getting the rulemaking done by December 31st. We've already moved that a bit to accommodate additional negotiations. I did have some discussions with folks, and folks did not seem to have concerns about the fact that getting it right as opposed to getting it done makes a lot of sense. So I just wanted to note that for that docket this morning. Again, due to discussions with our AAG, other commissioners don't need to weigh in, and we'll take it up next Thursday. We'll need to open up the docket and then make a decision on it. But in the interim, we'll have a hearing officer order that will, I'm not sure what it's going to look like, but it'll give the parties direction between now and then. So those are my comments from the chair. Are there other commissioner comments? Commissioner Cross.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just want to remind everyone that next week on Monday, January 27th from 5 to 8, we have the Rule 511 hearing for the Civitas's State La Plata South OGDP. As a reminder, this will be at the Arapahoe County Fairgrounds. We're going to open the doors about 4:30, begin about 5 o'clock. So far, we do have registered speakers. As an FYI, there will be Spanish translation available. Also, good to know there's There's going to be an area where kids can be there as well, so feel free to bring your children as well. But yeah, just wanted to make sure that everyone was reminded of that. You can sign up to speak in advance. You can also sign up to speak when you get there. But just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of that. Again, next Monday from 5 to 8, doors opening at 5:30 at the Arapahoe County Fairgrounds.
Great, and thank you for leading that, Commissioner Cross. Appreciate that point. And just for everybody else's sake, that was a action sua sponte, if I can throw out a little Latin here, on a Wednesday cold morning. That means that the commission on its own acted to hold the Rule 511 hearing. We felt like it's important for OGDPs associated with this matter. And so it gives opportunities for folks. Not all commissioners will be present at the hearing or at the 511 hearing. However, we all will certainly listen in to the record to ensure that we understand what was testified to. I would note that there's not generally Q&A, so commissioners that aren't present aren't really going to miss out on anything. It's more of a listening session, and so we will all listen virtually at some point between now and the hearing date. So again, thanks, Commissioner Cross, for leading on that front. Commissioner Oath, Commissioner Ackerman, Commissioner Ray, anything else for the good of the cause? All right, with that, we move to consent agenda. Does anyone have questions on consent? Do we have a motion to approve consent?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve consent. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And as is magical in our meetings, we now move to an enforcement rule classification update. And I see that Mr. Kirshner has showed up. Welcome to our meeting, and we look forward to hearing from you on an enforcement rule classification update. And you might start by telling the stakeholders what the heck that means.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was planning to do exactly that. I'm just going to share my screen for a second here. So for anybody who's not familiar with our enforcement process, and my name is Steve Kirshner, by the way, and enforcement supervisor here with the commission. Just a quick lesson on how we calculate our penalties for violations of commission rules. So penalties, we have a daily base penalty. That's the amount that's charged for each day an operator is in violation of the commission rule. That daily base penalty comes from two elements. The first is the impact factor. That's the degree of the actual or threatened impact. But what we're going to focus on today is the rule classification. That's up here up top on the x-axis. There's class 1, class 2, class 3. And those classes relate to the possibility that a violation of that rule could create a distinct actual or threatened impact. So class 1 is the least severe, class 3 is the most severe. So that's kind of what a rule classification is. It's one element of our penalty calculation. And then as the commission engages in its responsibility of making rules, we kind of go behind, and enforcement staff in consultation with technical staff, we go through each new rule and we classify it as that class 1, class 2, class 3. So with the help of technical staff, we essentially assess the possibility that a violation of that rule will create an actual or threatened impact to public health, safety, welfare, and the environment. So in this instance, we've got our deep geothermal rules. We've got our cumulative impact rules that were enacted last year. We went through, in the case of geothermal, we had the help of John Morgan and Ben Boudreau. And in the case of cumulative impacts, we went through with Sabrina Trask and Caitlin Stafford. We walked through each of those rules and we settled on a classification for each one. And those will be listed on the website just as soon as we can get that updated. I think the folks who update the website are out this week, so hopefully those will be on the regulation enforcement page as of next week. And the other thing I would add is that it's going to be a little while before we see any potential violations of these rules. We're just kind of getting started with these, but it's always good for us to have this framework in place in advance of that. And this is something we do kind of continually in the background as the commission engages in its rulemaking responsibilities. We go through behind that and we just classify each of these new rules for enforcement purposes. So essentially, that's all I had for today. Just wanted to have everybody look out probably early next week. These will be up on the website. Once again, it's on the homepage under regulation and then enforcement. And that's all I had for today. Anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Did you need any action on our part, Mr. Kirshner, or is this just kind of a, here's what's happening?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, we don't. It's just kind of an informational step here to let folks know that we're updating this. This is guidance, these rule classifications, so it doesn't require a commission vote. But we always like to know when we make these changes and when we put something new out on the website.
Great. All right. Thank you for the quick update. Commissioners, questions? All right. Seeing no questions, we will let you go. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioners, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we have now concluded the business agenda items for today's meeting. Does anybody have anything else? If not, I would move to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll see you at our next meeting.